What's up, guys? Ken here with you once again from Seattle, Washington. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. All right, look, I'm a journeyman drywall finisher my whole life. Promise to teach you to do it right. Be careful. There's some guys on YouTube who are doing these how-to videos. They don't really know what they're doing, but they're doing the video because they think they're going to get a lot of views. So be careful. This is what I do for a living, so I promise to teach you to do it right. All right, today's video, exciting stuff. How to properly touch up your drywall. Are you jazzed? All right, yeah, we gotta do it. Let's do it. Let's get it done right so we can paint it and call it done. Okay, first of all, let's take a quick look around at this room that we're working with here and check for touch up. What we wanna do is, first of all, you're gonna keep pencil with you and you're gonna have your work light in your other hand, okay? That way I can hold up my work light, shine it across the ceiling, any touch-up spots that I see, give it a light circle with the pencil, okay? And check the walls, do the same thing. Then I can put the light down. When you're done, you can just walk through with your pen and knife, quickly touch up those spots and go, okay? If I didn't do that, I'd just be kind of walking around randomly, looking at different random spots, touch-up spots, and you kind of be going back and forth a little bit, kind of going in circles. I like doing it this way because you hold up that light, you check it, you circle all the spots, you put it down, phase 2, touch up all those spots quickly, and done, and move on. Okay? Now we have an existing ceiling here. It's good. Big old patch here. Looks really good, but I see some bubbles in the mud. Very common. If you do your first coat with hot mud, or if you do a coat of mud over a painted wall, you're gonna get bubbles. Like I said, if you do your first coat with hot mud, you're going to do your second coat with finished mud, you're always going to get bubbles. If you do a coat of mud over a painted wall, you're always going to get bubbles. Now, some drywall guys will sand it out and touch up those bubbles, but you want to touch up after primer. If you touch up before primer, you touch up those spots where those bubbles are, and they come right back. Okay, and then you kind of have to fight with it. It's a pain. If you primer first, and then you touch up those spots, they come out perfect on the first time, and it just comes out much better. And that's pretty much the way it goes with all touch-up. Better to touch up after primer. If you touch up before primer, you'll see some spots that you think need to be touched up, but then later you realize those spots are long gone after primer. And after primer, you'll see some spots that need to be touched up that you never saw before, because you're only going to see them after the primer's on the wall. So really, primer it, look it over, touch it up, done. Comes out better, less work, easier, better quality product, okay? It's just always better to touch up after primer. All right, let's keep checking out this room real quick, show you a few other spots. Okay, another spot. We got an angle. I can actually see a little bit of that mesh tape showing and a pretty heavy groove in that angle there that you can see, okay? Another common spot, up inside your angle. Very common that we have touch up inside these angles where the 3 inside angles come together. Little kind of a groove there, kind of ugly spot, we'll touch that up. Pretty good sized gouge right there, as you can see right there. Little touch up spot. A couple more tiny little bubble spots, okay? We got a pretty good shine the light from a couple different angles. Groove inside that angle. Okay, you can kind of see it there, a groove inside that angle. When you're putting a coat of mud on, sometimes the edge of your knife will leave a little groove inside that angle, and that's okay. Easy to touch up. Another one here, okay? A raw spot, easy touch up. A couple little more bubble marks here because we had a patch and we had to skim over a painted existing wall. Gonna get those. Like I said, guys, now I'm gonna walk through with this light, shine it across every ceiling, in each wall, quickly circle the touch-up spots that I see, and then I can come through with my pen and knife, quickly touch up those spots, and get out of here. You don't wanna drag it out. You don't wanna be obsessing over this all day long. Okay, let's get it done. A few more bubbles. When I say bubbles, I mean when we put that last coat of mud on, get a few bubbles. When you sand it, then you have those little black holes from the bubbles. obviously you sanded the top part of the bubble off and you're left with those black holes. So that's what I mean when I say bubbles, okay? Those black holes, they gotta be touched up. Those will show, even after texture, those will show through, okay? Anything that's like a little tiny bump on the wall, maybe a tiny little bead of mud got left on the wall and got sanded, or there's any slight little tiny bump, those usually blend right in with the texture and you never see them. Those are fine, but anything that's like a black hole in the wall, these little black holes from the bubbles, or any other type of like gouge in the wall that leaves a little black hole, those will always show up even after texture. You have to touch those up. Also, the tiny little imperfections, I mean the really tiny ones, remember, things gonna get textured and 2 coats of paint. So those are gonna be long gone. So you don't have to stress about the super tiny ones, okay? You can let those go. Got a little bathroom here to do too, so we're gonna do a bedroom bathroom combo today. And we do have a pretty nice heavy groove in this angle here. So we'll be touching at that whole angle. But that's easy fix, and I'll be showing you how to fix those in a quick and simple way here in a minute. Another one on this side. When I'm doing my drywall jobs, if I know that I'm gonna leave a groove in one side of the angle, because that's what happens when you coat angles by hand, I'm fine with that. I get that coat of mud on that angle so it looks good and I move on. I know there's gonna be a groove on the other side and I don't care. I'm not gonna stand there and mess with it all day. This is not a big deal. I'm just gonna quickly get a nice coat on that side of the angle. I know there might be a little groove on the other side from my knife. And once it's dried and sanded out, it's super quick and easy to touch those up and it's fine. So when I'm doing my coat of mud, I don't need to keep messing with it all day, it's fine. When you're coating by hand and you got a nasty remodel job to do, sometimes, you know, that's just the way it is. Okay, the middle part of the wall, any part of the middle part of the wall or saying anywhere, it's pretty straightforward. It's flat, so basically you're gonna pull it tight. Okay? Get a little mud where those bubble spots are, pull it tight. No mud left on the wall, but those little holes from the bubbles, they're full. Looks perfect now, ready to texture. And the spot here, bubbles. Okay, pull it out tight. Done. Perfectly smooth, ready for texture. Okay, here we have a pretty nasty angle here. I can vaguely see a little bit of that mesh tape showing. You even see a tiny string sticking out from it. That happens once in a while, and a pretty decent groove inside the angle. So on this one, I'm gonna have to leave just a thin skim of mud over that to cover that, because it's pretty rough. So watch and learn. I'm gonna go like this and I'm gonna hold it for a second because that'll make sure that that mud squishes out underneath the knife and gets into that groove in the angle. So there's no hollow spots, okay? Okay. All the way down to where the base trim is. Go like this. I'm not going all the way in the angle on that. I'm just taking off that excess mud, okay? I'm gonna do one more swipe. It's not my final wipe down. I'm just doing one because I wanna see what kind of little globs may end up on the other side. Go like that to clean off any of those globs, okay? Now my final wipe down. Boom. Okay, it's perfect. There's no harsh fat edge there to sand. There's no globs in the angle. There's nothing. Perfectly flat. Nothing to sand. Ready for texture. There's a little spot with just a few bubbles. Like that. Pull it up tight. Bubbles are gone. Those little black holes are gone. Good to go. All right, let's tackle a couple of angles. The flat part of the wall is much easier. Kind of easy to grasp. You put the mud on and you pull it off tight. Nothing on the wall, nothing to sand. But those imperfections are full. Wall's flat, ready to go. So the flat part of the wall is pretty simple, but the angles, touching up the angles, that's something that takes a little bit of practice. So let me show you. Pretty heavy groove right here. Okay, a little rough. So what we're gonna do, we're kind of gonna treat this like we're doing a bead of caulking. You've ever caulked around wood trim? Sort of the same thing to get rid of this ugly, rough looking angle. Okay, watch. Just enough mud in there. Okay. That angle is full. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna leave just, I'm not gonna go all the way into the angle. I'm gonna say just maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 inch at the most away from that angle. Just to get all this excess mud off of there. Okay? Good. Now watch this. Just like I said. Now there's a tiny line there, so I'm just going to go like that. Done. To this side. Done. That's perfect. Okay, you see how fast that was? The angle's done now. And it's perfect. If you try to do the whole thing with your knife, not use your finger, just try to do it with your knife. Especially if you're new at this, you could be messing with that for a long time. Okay? But as long as you have a thin bead of mud going down that angle, use your finger and go like that. It comes out perfect. Okay? Don't worry that the angle is not crisp. Don't worry that this inside part might be slightly rounded or anything like that. That's not an issue. It's not a problem. Go like that. Pull it tight. If it is very slightly rounded when you're done, the mud shrinks when it dries, and it's going to look perfect. It's going to be fine. Okay? It's never been an issue. Okay, another angle. This one's a little different. This one, there was a groove in the angle, but this area around it also was pretty rough. So we're going to do it like I did that other one. Okay? Hold the knife there, let that mud squish into that angle so you don't have any hollow spots. If I didn't hold the knife there for a second and let that mud squish under the knife, it'd look like this. Okay? There's a hollow spot there. It would look like that. That's exaggerated, but you know, hollow spot there, it didn't get all the way up into the angle. So, put it in there, hold for a second. Put it in there, hold it for a second. Okay? Put it in there, hold it for a second. Okay? Because there was a groove and this side of the angle was a little rough. That's why we're doing that. Pull most of the mud off. Keep my knife square in the angle. Nice. It came out nice. No mud on the other side of the angle at all. No globs of mud, no little beads of mud. Keep my knife square in the angle. When I say square, I mean like that. Don't have your knife tilted at an angle like that or too much that way. You know. So basically the edge of your knife basically straight up and down. So that if I put it into the angle that way, it would be, you know, straight with the angle, even. Okay. Got a little tiny glob there. So one more time. Boom. Perfect. Okay. Now, when I say keep your knife perfectly straight, don't have it that way or that way. That's good. But if I went to do that final wipe down and there was a little glob, I would do it one more time. And I would slightly tilt my knife a little bit that way, because then it would grab that little bead of mud and flatten it out, and it would come out nice. Tiny little hole right here where the corner bead just didn't quite get covered. We got a slight gap there. Boom. Whoops. Okay. Didn't quite have enough mud on my knife there. Boom. Hold it, let it squish into that hole. Bam. There. Took a couple tries to get it smooth on that one. A little rough on that first try. It's okay. Good. Good to go. Are you guys still here? Aren't you bored yet? Anyway, if you are still here, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you watch the whole video, my channel does better. It means you want to learn too, so it's good. And if this helped you on your project, okay, you got your project done, leave a comment. I want to hear from you. All right, let's do a few more. Here's one. It's all rough inside this corner, quite rough. This whole area was pretty rough. Okay, so again, coat this whole area. Now to do that, I just got mud on about half of my knife. See how one side of my knife has no mud? Okay. Get my knife in my pan kind of at an angle like that and kind of go like that, and then, you know, I can get just the right amount of mud on. Okay. Pull off that excess mud, nothing left. Get perfectly inside the angle now. Find the light now. Very nice. Got a little hollow spot right there. Let's do it one more time. Good. Still got kind of an edge right there. Good. Little glob here. Carefully come from this side. Good. Okay guys, let's do a quick recap. The flat part of the wall, that's pretty simple. Put the mud on the bad spot, you pull it off tight, you're done. Okay, that's pretty easy. In the angle, you basically have two situations. There might just be a groove inside that angle where it looks like the edge of the knife left a groove in the angle. Like I said, you put a little mud in there, you pull all that mud off, so maybe there's just a tiny bead of mud going down that angle. Use your finger, take that off, kind of like you're caulking. It comes out perfect. It's quick and easy. The third thing that I want to remind you of is if you have an angle where one side of the angle is just rough and bad, you have to leave a thin skim on that side of the angle. Okay? You're going to have to leave a tiny skim of mud on there, but if you do it like I showed you, it'll come out perfect, nothing to sand, and you're ready to texture. But if you're struggling and it still looks rough, as long as you know a sanding sponge will fix that when it's dry, and that's fine too. You don't have to keep messing with it and stressing yourself out all day, okay? Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on that bell so you don't miss the future videos. I appreciate you being here. Hit the like, give the channel a boost also. See you on the next one.